Hey guys, my name's Sarah. Welcome to the REsimpli channel, where today we're going to show you how to capitalize on the phrase everybody knows that fortune is in the follow-up. But I'm here to say if you're not doing it well, you are spending marketing dollars and time just down the toilet. We're going to focus on 3 things today, including number 1, how do you categorize your leads so you don't just get this huge bucket of warm leads and everybody's dumped in and you don't know who's the best, most likely seller versus, Joe Schmo that never picks up your phone call, right? The second thing we're going to talk about is how you're following up. How can you be efficient in your follow-up? And particularly, we're going to talk about some drip campaigns that you can just automate, set it and forget it, and let the leads come back to you. The last component of fortune is in the follow-up is being able to pick up the conversation, being able to immediately go to the jugular with your seller by knowing what their pain was, what their motivation was, and bringing that back to the call as you reconnect with them 6 months, a year later. And you don't want to just treat them like a cold caller and start from zero when you have some valuable pieces of information in your history. But if you don't know how to find it, or if you didn't take great notes, or if it's buried in a long stream of notes, you're not going to get the most juice out of that squeeze. So that's the third component we're going to talk about using AI. So sit tight, grab a notebook. We're going to go through some strategies for you to implement yourself to have fortune in the follow-up. All right, the first thing I recommend is dividing up your leads into as many small buckets as you can. All right, a couple things that we use in my business is no contact made. It's pretty obvious. Contact made, not interested, right? That's someone that's, for whatever reason, they reached out and submitted a form online or called your website phone number, but then when you get on the phone with them, they say, I'm not interested, right? Don't just put them dead. I would suggest you put them on a campaign for long-term follow-up, and you never know when their situation is going to change. But they're not the most motivated, right? So it's not going to be the best use of your time when you're at the end of the month, the end of the quarter, and you're looking at your KPIs and you're saying, we need 2 contracts right now. But the marketing budget is spent, or you can't ramp it up. You just have to work with the leads you already have. You want to know exactly which bucket to go fishing in, which bucket to go dialing from to have the most likely chance of stirring up those 2 contracts. And those 2 buckets I just mentioned are not going to be that, but you don't want to lose track of them. You do want to follow up. That's where step 2 is going to come into play with drip campaigns. But another couple statuses that we use here is interested and add to follow up. These are people that you talk to and they're interested, but something's not quite right with the timing or their situation. And you do not want to lose those sellers because they want to sell. They just had to sort something out or wait a little bit of time and then they're going to be ready. So keeping that bucket on your short list is going to be important. Another category that may be obvious is offers made. Obviously, you want to keep track of these people. They may ghost you. They may have been looking for multiple offers. They may even have listed on the MLS, but those leads, trust me, can come back to you with the right follow-up. Do not lose those leads. Lastly, I want to encourage you that if you had contracts in play and they terminated because of pricing or repairs were greater and so you asked for a price reduction from the seller and it didn't go through, don't just mark that lead as dead. Unless you really don't want it. Sometimes there's just title issues or projects that need a bulldozer instead of a rehab. If that's not what you're looking to do, then you can mark those as dead because you'd be wasting your time following up with them. But we just got a contract circle back to us that we had under contract 1.5 years ago. And we were wholesaling it, couldn't find a buyer at the price because the numbers just weren't quite right with repairs, etc. And we did try for a price reduction, but it terminated. 1.5 years later, we get back in touch with the seller and they haven't done anything and they're more motivated now than they were then. And we got a $40,000 price reduction on that property and it's now back in play. So don't let your sales team be too embarrassed to follow up with sellers when something didn't work out the first time. Remember, you can be their solution. They just have to be at the right price. So you have to have that mentality going in. But that's a whole nother video. All right, now that we've talked about the statuses to use so you can decide what buckets leads are in, and you can decide which bucket you're gonna take a deep dive into with how you're spending your time and how you're spending your follow-up. Let's talk about automation. Guys, if you have a spreadsheet or a list and you're manually trying to follow up with these people or create follow-up appointments, you're gonna be pulling your hair out and you're gonna be missing leads. You need to automate this. And additionally, you don't wanna treat every lead the same. You don't want everyone to get the same messaging. It's very different if you've never talked with this person or if you made them an offer, right? You don't wanna have the same timing, because if someone's a new lead, you wanna be hitting them hard, regularly, calling, texting, emailing, right? A very hard push up front to catch them, strike while the iron's hot. But you don't want to lose track of people that the timing wasn't right. But if you're hitting the phones with them, 7 days a week ongoing, they're going to unsubscribe and you're going to annoy them rather than be ready when they're ready. So you need to start spacing out the timing of your campaigns based on where people are at. So that is really key. You can build out for yourself, and we use REsimpli and have multiple drip campaigns set up that are specified with the right messaging and the right timing. What I like about REsimpli is you can duplicate an existing campaign and then just tweak it. So you don't have to start from scratch every time, which is really nice. REsimpli has 5 different components of their drip campaigns that are all different automated actions to help you get back in touch with the seller. Obviously, calling. You can get a task reminder that it's time to call your seller, but you can also send an automated SMS right within the system, and it's a template. It'll send on its own. You don't have to type it each time. And if you guys didn't know, cellular carriers are starting to crack down on sending texts through that have certain key words. I love REsimpli has recently updated their system to flag you or alert you if you're using some of those suspected words, so you can clear them out of your drip campaigns and make sure that your messages are going through. Furthermore, you can refresh the page once a text is sent, and it will give you an icon showing if it was successfully delivered or unsuccessfully delivered. And if it's unsuccessful, one of the reasons could be, the seller's phone isn't working, essentially type of message, or your SMS was flagged against carrier guidelines. So you can correct that and get much more success in your deliverability with your seller's texts. All right, a couple other features within the drip campaigns is RVM, recorded voicemails, straight to your seller's voicemail. You didn't actually have to call. They're not going to pick up, but they'll just have that voicemail to listen to. As well as they've got RVM, they've got email. You can create a webhook action if you want to do something as fancy as that. And what we use as kind of a last-ditch effort, but I really like, is a direct mail. For like $1, you can choose from postcard, yellow letter, etc., and send direct mail straight to this person, which is super helpful if their phone is all of a sudden disconnected or no longer accepting messages. All right. Action item for you guys, take a look at your drip campaigns. How often are you following up with these people? What are the messages, and are you targeting the right people with the right message at the right time? The last thing about follow-up is how you can re-engage with a seller. If you have some notes of what their motivation was the first time they talked to you, or what their situation was, and you can jump right back in, hit with the hammer, right? Like, we all know you'll get on the phone with the seller and try to re-engage, and for whatever reason, they're not giving you as much information. Maybe they don't remember talking to you, and so they kind of got their guard up. But if you can go straight into, Mr. Seller, last time we talked, I know you were a couple months behind on your mortgage. I'm just curious, did you get caught up? Where are you at with that now? Are you still considering selling for a cash offer, right? And now you may have the piece of information that is their motivation to get them to take action. But if you don't have it right in front of you, you might be scrolling through all kinds of notes, or trying to remember. Maybe you're trying to play back recorded calls, which is a great feature in REsimpli. But one of REsimpli's newest features with AI is to get a complete call summary or transcript at a click of a button. So you can find that last lengthy call and, oh shoot, my sales guy didn't take good notes. It's a 30-minute call. How do I know where to pick up with the seller? One click, 30 seconds later, you've got it right there, and now you can make that call with confidence, knowing that you can re-engage with that seller and get things going. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope this will help you achieve fortune in the follow-up, and we'll see you soon.